Hi, my name is TJ McManus, and today I will be going to discuss how a positive attachment style can influence relationships going into adulthood. So, in this PowerPoint, I will discuss the positive attachment styles in early childhood and how they influence on key relationships going into adulthood. So, what is an attachment theory? The attachment theory is a psychology-based piece of work that was put together by psychologist John Bowlby and then later expanded by Mary Ainsworth. The theory suggests that the most important bond or emotional bond comes between young children and their primary caregivers. John Bowlby's attachment theory. Bowlby's theory is very focused on the emotional relationship between an infant and their primary caregiver. He believed that relationships that we make early on in our lives influence our emotional and social development throughout our lives. Uh, Bowlby's theory explores a few different attachment styles, but the one I'll focus on is secure attachment. I'll briefly touch on the other ones, but I'm not really going to go in depth because I feel they don't really positively influence adulthood, but just to kind of go through them anyways quickly. So the first one is anxious attachment. Children with this style would often display distress once they become separate from their primary caregiver, and a child with this attachment style may be quite difficult to settle once the caregiver returns. The avoidant attachment. Children may appear uninterested in their caregiver's presence or absence, and then disorganized attachment. Children may show multiple responses in their caregiver's presence or absence. Their behavior seems confusing or disorganized. Then Bowlby's inner working model. So this model shows how a child forms their attachment style due to how their caregiver, the relationship with their caregiver. Uh, Bowlby believes that a child is biologically born to seek attachments in order to survive, and then this attachment style will help shape their understanding of themselves and future relationships. So the diagram here, the first bit is how the primary caregiver is to the child, and then this is the child itself. So if the relationship between them or the child would feel unloved and rejected, they would be in the avoidant attachment style. They wouldn't really have a relationship with them. They would avoid them. Then, if the caregiver gives us angry and confused, they'll be resistant to them. And then, positive and loved is secure, which I'll be going properly in depth because this is the positive one that would probably have a effect going into adulthood. So, the secure attachment. The secure attachment states that children will not feel or show distress when they become separated from their caregiver, and they experience joy once they are reunited with them. So the signs of a secure attachment in children. So they're not afraid to seek comfort from their caregivers. So if they ever feel stressed or not loved or whatever, they are not afraid to seek their caregiver because they trust them, good control over their emotions, and have good trust and confidence. And then going into adulthood diagram of kind of how the secure attachment would look in adulthood, so they can regulate their emotions and feelings. So if they're brought up being able or allowed to show their emotions, they won't be afraid going into adulthood. Trusting, empathetic, and compassionate. Uh, Comfortable being close and being alone. Um, they communicate effectively. They have good coping and problem solving skills, and they are comfortable in intimacy. So that is my a PowerPoint on the attachment styles, and yeah, thanks.